everyone, my name is Kai, and I'm doing my nature interpretation on something that I cannot say yet because I want you guys to figure that out in the next activity. Before we start and before we figure out what I'm doing my project on, let's go over some safety measures first. Obviously, we're in Joshua Tree National Park, and it is the wild. There are this is our home base, that does not count. As you can see, there's some stuff that can be dangerous. 3 out of 4 people here, or 3 out of 5 people are wearing sandals, so that's also something we gotta factor in. I got a nice first aid kit if you bleed a little bit, and a nice tourniquet if you bleed a lot. Okay, so first thing I want to do is just walk around Joshua Tree and for a couple minutes, and I want it to be an observation walk. So people just pay attention to what you're seeing. Just anything that you see, just try to remember it. So this environment is pretty redundant, so pretty sure we got the gist of it. So I want to ask you guys, what do you guys remember like seeing from the observation hike that we just had? Dirt.
Dried grass.
Dried grass.
Ant farm.
Ant farms.
Mounds.
Burrows, mounds.
Hospital homes.
I saw little collections of leaves and twigs kind of all brushed together in places.
Spiders.
Did you hear any noises or?
Yeah.
Is this in Joshua Tree?
Dogs.
Wild dogs.
I didn't hear any.
I just saw the beautiful
Desert creatures.
sunset. The desert sunset. It was great.
Okay. Do you guys think that that's all that exists?
No.
over here? You know it. You know it's all. Okay. What else did we not see?
Animals.
Critters, bunnies, kangaroo rats. Oh.
We didn't see any snakes.
No. We saw snake holes.
We didn't see any tarantulas.
No.
No tarantulas, no snakes.
The scorpions. They're here though.
Scorpions.
Black widows.
The little critters which live underground.
Right.
So what I want to teach you guys about today is the desert tortoise. And usually, just walking around, we wouldn't see the desert tortoise just laying around. They live in something that Brenna, you mentioned earlier. It was a burrow. Yes, and a burrow looks like kind of like this, like an entrance, but this is a caved-in burrow. Caved in, yes. There's like more. Like these obviously aren't. These don't fit tortoises.
For example.
Yeah. So a little bit about the desert tortoise is its real name is, or the scientific name is the Gophorus agassizi. It does not just exist to exist. It has a purpose, like everything here. We learned earlier about the moth and the yucca plant, the codependent relationship. What we see right now is stuff above ground, but underground we have kangaroo rats, we have desert tortoises, etc. Bunnies, gophers, pretty much. We usually, exactly what I was going to get to, I forgot. We won't see them just because they are on the decline as of 20 to 30 years ago. As you can see, when we were walking from home base to here on the long trek, you could see that like humans have messed with the natural habitat and have made a motocross track or something along the lines of that. So what that does is that just if this used to be a burrow, it's now gone. So past 20 and 30 years, the desert tortoise has actually gone on the federal and state endangered species list. There is severe damage to the burrows that used to be here. Also, just by humans just walking like what we just did, it's obviously we're stepping on the plants and burrows, and stuff has been caved in like the one that we just saw. Also, the desert tortoise does not need much water. They usually get water from the plants that they eat, like mesquite grass, cheatgrass, just different kinds of like greenery, like shrubs, anything that they can find. Because of this, the fact that the desert tortoise doesn't get like, there's obviously no readily available oases of water here, because they only get their water off of the plants that they eat. If we do see one while we are on our hike, we can't pick them up, because if we pick them up, they will actually use a defense mechanism that they will get scared and they will actually urinate themselves without planning to. That gets rid of their whole water in their whole body. And they weren't planning on getting rid of that, so that would be bad. That would result in possibly the tortoise getting dehydrated, and that would also add to the destruction that we humans have done. To get its other nutrients besides water, the desert tortoise will, I don't know if we noticed any, but I thought I saw some animal scat, which is animal poop, and they'll go through the poop and they will take the nutrients that they need. So that's also another way for them to get what they need. Because the desert tortoise is very, very, it's a calm animal, it has to store a lot of its energy. It only walks about 0.2 miles an hour, so the females have to store their energy a lot. The males and the females will mate any time of the year, but the main time that they mate is from March to October. And for the eggs to hatch, it takes about 70 to 100 days, so it does take a while. It's not like a mouse or a rat that can just have the baby and just the next month or the next 2 months have another one. So that's why that adds another factor to their vulnerability. They are another way that they can conserve their energy, because they're such like slow creatures. They don't really do much. To preserve their energy, they live in the burrows, and in summertime the burrows are from 20 to 30 feet, and in wintertime it varies because of the temperature. Also, another thing with the burrows is that animals can actually, like other animals can get into the burrows besides humans. Like humans obviously can harm them, like with off-road vehicles and signs and stuff. Yeah. Oh yeah. The last thing I was gonna talk about was we are not allowed to take the desert tortoise out of its environment. The Mojave people used to use the tortoise as food, and if they found a tortoise, they would kill the tortoise, eat the meat, and then they would use the shell or the carapace as like utensils or jewelry or anything like that. But obviously nowadays we are not allowed to do that. We are not allowed to do that to the point of if we see a tortoise and it's crossing the street, let's say like we're in Joshua Tree, it's crossing the street and it's walking this way, we have to look and see if there's a car coming, and if it's walking a certain direction, like let's say it's going like east, we have to pick it up, put it on the other side of the road, and put it in the same direction. If it's going east, let it go east.
So that's the only time that you can pick
That's
them up.
pretty much the only recommended time, because that's really, really a serious issue of the tortoise, like urinating and dehydrating and then eventually dying because of surprise. That's as of 1989 and 1990. It's, so yeah, because people are not aware of this, the desert tortoise has been slowly on the decline. But there are now a lot of like desert like clubs and stuff, desert tortoise clubs that help to preserve the tortoise. Okay, we're gonna do a Q&A. I don't have my... That's cool. Okay. Do you know how long it takes from the time of conception until the egg hatches? Like how many days or how many months?
70 to 100 days.
Yeah, correct. Where do they get their water from?
From the plants they eat.
And there's one.
Yes. I don't know.
What do you think?
There's
From
more?
the scat? They're eating the scat?
They get seeds and stuff out of it.
They don't get really water from
It's
it.
kind of like protein and stuff.
Unless it's watery skin. And we won't get into that.
How old do they get? How long do they live?
Oh, they get up to it's hard to tell. Usually the average life is about like 50 years. So
And how long does it take them to reach sexual maturity?
3 years old, I believe.
3?
What else? Oh yeah. If we find one right now, can we take it home?
No.
Why not?
It's already home.
Yeah. It's home. It's endangered. If we take it home, it'll not be in its element, and it'll pee on itself and become dehydrated.
Correct. How big do their burrows get in the summertime?
Up to 30 feet.
Correct.
And did you say they're smaller in winter because it's warmer? Is that the idea?
Yeah, pretty much.
Body heat. Okay.
Are there any questions?
How big is the clutch of eggs?
Oh, I forgot to mention that. Because they only have like around 1 or 2 each time. That's also why they're threatened, because like their burrows caving in, people doing motocross, animals getting in, other animals in their burrows because it's an open burrow in the ground. They're very, very vulnerable. Like
To get away.
Do the,
quickly.
do the young desert tortoises stay around the adults then for protection, or are they all solitary livers?
The parents stay with the babies for a while, and then if they're lucky, the babies won't die from predators or whatnot. So it's not like every year like a pair of tortoises have like a baby every single year. If they get lucky, maybe like out of every 5 years, they'll get like 2 babies that actually grow and live to be able to have their own babies. So it's just a very, very vulnerable animal. Pretty much.
Can you tell by looking whether it's a male or a female?
Yeah, you can tell if you. Okay, well, for general rule, the males are bigger than the females. Since we're not really allowed to pick them up, for tortoises, I can't say this for desert tortoises because it's a bad idea to pick them up. For tortoises, if you flip them around and if you look at their tail, the male's tail is generally a lot bigger. So. Is that it?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Cool.